The lasting impact of school shootings. It starts and ends in seconds, but the effects last for decades. How do school shootings alter the lives of those left behind? When tragedy strikes, it often commands the world's attention for only a fleeting moment before fading into the background of the 24-hour news cycle. Yet for the communities impacted, the consequences endure for years. The recent shooting at Antioch High School in Nashville, where a 17-year-old student fatally shot a classmate and himself, is not just another entry in the grim statistics of school gun violence. It is a stark reminder of how such incidents leave deep scars on students, families, and society as a whole. This video delves into the far-reaching consequences of school shootings, exploring the immediate and long-term effects on survivors, educational systems, and communities. By examining the numbers, scenarios, and real-world examples, we hope to shed light on the human cost behind the headlines. On January 22, 2025, a quiet morning at Antioch High School turned into chaos when Solomon Henderson, a 17-year-old student, opened fire in the cafeteria, killing 16-year-old Jocelyn Correa Escalante and wounding another male student before taking his own life. Within 17 seconds, Henderson fired 10 shots from a 9mm pistol, shattering the lives of students, teachers, and families. While police continue to investigate motives and the shooter's connection to extremist online material, the immediate question looms: how does a community recover from an event like this? The aftermath reveals patterns of trauma and disruption that extend far beyond the scene of the shooting. Academic decline. School shootings have an immediate and measurable impact on student performance. Research conducted by Levine and McKnight on incidents like Sandy Hook showed that affected schools experience a significant drop in standardized test scores, particularly among boys. For instance, Sandy Hook elementary test scores dropped by 20 percentile points in the 2 years following the tragedy. Chronic absenteeism rates doubled as students struggled to return to the site of their trauma. Even smaller-scale shootings, like the one at Antioch High School, disrupt learning environments. Students in the district may face reduced proficiency rates, increased absenteeism, and a higher likelihood of repeating grades. The disruption often spreads beyond the immediate school, affecting students in neighboring institutions who feel unsafe or overwhelmed by proximity to the tragedy. Educational and economic consequences. Exposure to gun violence during formative years alters life trajectories. Graduation rates. Affected students are 2.9% less likely to graduate from high school. College enrollment. They are 4.4% less likely to pursue higher education. Lifetime earnings. On average, exposed students lose over $115,000 in potential income over their lifetimes. These numbers reflect more than just statistics. They represent dashed dreams and stunted potential. A shooting disrupts the collective motivation and emotional stability of students, making it harder for them to focus on academic and personal growth. Surviving a school shooting doesn't mean escaping its consequences. Studies show that exposure to such trauma increases the likelihood of severe mental health struggles, post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Many survivors develop symptoms of PTSD, including nightmares, hypervigilance, and depression. In children, these symptoms can manifest as withdrawal, difficulty concentrating, or sudden aggression. Anxiety and depression. Students often grapple with a sense of vulnerability, fear of recurrence, and survivor's guilt. External cause mortality. Survivors, especially males, show higher rates of deaths from suicide and drug overdoses. For example, Columbine survivors experienced elevated mortality rates well into their 20s. Generational impact trauma. From school shootings does not remain confined to survivors. Parents, siblings, and even future generations bear the emotional toll. Families of survivors often experience heightened stress, strained relationships, and financial difficulties due to therapy or relocation costs. Children born to survivors may inherit the psychological ripples of the tragedy, growing up in an environment shaped by fear and grief. These findings highlight the importance of mental health support, yet many districts lack the resources to provide adequate care. Schools that do offer counseling often find their services overwhelmed, leaving many students' needs unmet. The consequences of school shootings extend beyond the immediate victims. Faculty turnover. Teachers and staff often leave in the aftermath, seeking safer environments. This disrupts continuity and affects the quality of education. A study found that schools impacted by shootings experience a 20% increase in teacher attrition within the first year. Increased security costs. Districts invest heavily in safety measures, from metal detectors to AI weapon detection systems. Antioch High had implemented such a system, but it failed to stop the shooter due to his proximity to the cameras. These measures, while necessary, divert funds from educational programs, exacerbating disparities in underfunded schools. Community trust erodes. Parents and students lose faith in the school's ability to protect them, further straining relationships within the community. Local businesses and property values often decline as families move away in search of safer environments. Cultural shifts. School shootings create a culture of fear that permeates into broader society. Active shooter drills, once rare, are now a routine part of American education. While these drills aim to prepare students, they also reinforce a grim reality that schools are no longer safe havens. The Antioch High School tragedy is one of over 330 school shooting incidents recorded in 2024. Despite increased funding for safety measures, these solutions often fail to address the root causes of gun violence, including access to firearms and the influence of harmful online communities. To combat these issues, a multifaceted approach is essential. Policy change. Stricter gun control laws, including universal background checks, can reduce access to firearms by at-risk individuals. Countries like Australia and the United Kingdom have implemented stringent gun laws following mass shootings and have since seen a significant decline in gun violence. Mental health resources. Schools must prioritize counseling services and trauma-informed care to support affected students and staff. Federal and state governments should allocate dedicated funding for mental health initiatives in schools, ensuring that every student has access to necessary care. Community engagement programs aimed at fostering connection and resilience within schools can mitigate the isolating effects of trauma. Peer support groups, community dialogues, and mentorship initiatives can help rebuild trust and solidarity. Parent and teacher training. Equipping parents and teachers with the tools to identify and address early warning signs of distress can prevent potential tragedies. Training programs should emphasize empathy, conflict resolution, and proactive intervention. Final thoughts beyond the headlines. For many, school shootings are fleeting tragedies, a news story that fades as quickly as it arrives. But for survivors and their families, the effects are enduring. From academic struggles to lifelong mental health challenges, the repercussions ripple across generations. We owe it to these communities to look beyond the immediate headlines and demand systemic change. Only then can we hope to stop the cycle of violence and its devastating impact on America's youth. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated on our latest discussions. If you have thoughts about the video, drop them in the comments below. Until our next video, stay informed and take care. And take